Sponsors.
All right, come on, gather around, sit down in your seat, in your chair, wherever you're at. We're about to have another episode of Think About It with Joshua Salaam. I'm your host. This is all brought to you by pennyappealusa.org. So don't go nowhere. Check out this show. I think you're going to like it. Yep, we're having another episode of Think About It. This is Joshua Salaam, your host. I am so happy, and I really am. I'm not just saying that you guys are tuning in, and I hope that you are enjoying the episodes as I'm enjoying these episodes. And today, I'm having a guest come on. It's a sister, and we've had a lot of brothers on, we've had a lot of sisters on, and I'm trying to keep that balance because I think it's very important to have balance in our community. And one of the things that I think is not balanced that I want you to think about is the access and opportunities given to Muslim women and Muslim sisters in the community. One of the things that has made me think often is when I go to Muslim events, especially like school events, it's like Islamic schools or maybe like a fundraising dinner or something like that, when they open up with the Quran. Most of the time I see communities try to balance it by having a brother and sister do it, right? Sometimes it's just all Arabic. If it's all Arabic, it's going to be a brother who opens up the Quran with Quranic Arabic or with the Quran. But if they have two people, if they have a brother and sister, I don't even want to say 9 times out of 10. I'm going to say 10 times out of 10, this is what's going to happen. The brother will recite the Quran, and the sister will translate it. She'll do the English. And I just want people to think about that. Why is that? We're this is not, I'm not talking about a different country. I'm talking about American Islam. And I'm not talking about any particular city. I travel often. As a performer, I have been to so many events around the world, right? From Germany to Malaysia. Well, no, actually, if we talk about Malaysia, that's something different. I'm going to get to them. But all over the U.S., I've been to events, and it's the same thing. The sister will do the English, and the brother will do the actual Quran. And of course, I know where it comes from, that the community feels that the voice of the woman is her outer, and that it is not good for her to be reciting in a melodious voice in front of the audience. We may not say that every time. We're not going to give the excuse every time, but I believe that's where it comes from. And so I want you to think about that, to make sure that you're comfortable with that. If you're comfortable with that explanation, if you're comfortable with that opinion, then alhamdulillah, be comfortable with it. But for those people who aren't, and you're just following tradition without knowing where it comes from, I want you guys to think about it. Because when you do travel and you go to places like Malaysia and Indonesia, where these are majority Muslim countries, and it's not like a new Muslim country, like the scale just tipped to the point where they have a Muslim majority. They've been Muslim for a long time. They've had a lot of scholars come through. They have their own scholars that are just powerhouse scholars just like anyone else. And they have Quranic competitions where there's women in the competition competing to be the best Quranic reciter in that area. And there's been a lot of famous ones that you can find online and on the internet. And so sometimes I've been to Muslim events where I know the sister recites Quran better than the brother, right? Because like there's been times where I know both of the people. I know the brother who's reciting the Quran, and I know the sister who's doing the translation. And I'm like, oh man, why did they just let her do the translation? She recites Quran much better than him, right? And it's not about that her voice is not necessarily so much better. But before, I told you guys about how some people who study the Quran have a natural gift of notes. They know what note to hit and when to go up and when to go down, and it just sounds very beautiful, right? As opposed to another person who's memorized the Quran, where they both have memorized the Quran, and the rules, they'll give the shadda and the the mad and everything is correct, but their notes aren't as proper as another person. And that's like one of the big differences between a person who recites the Quran beautifully and somebody who has just memorized the Quran. And so today we're kind of opening that up. I'm bringing on a guest who's a sister who does have a musical background. She won't be singing for you today, but she does have a musical background. She went to a very prestigious high school for music, and then she just got involved in the community. You know, she got married, she had children, and she's just working in the community, working with an Islamic school. And Imam Majid, who was the imam of the mosque, knew that she had a musical background. And so he invited her, and you're going to hear more of the story in a little bit, but he's the one that said, hey, you have this, and I want you to give it to the community. I want you to do something with that. And the reason why I'm bringing guests like this on the show is because I'm hoping that there will be people out there sitting in your chair, in your computer chair, in your sofa, in your office, just like you, who are going to see people like this. I brought on, who was on here not too long ago, Owais Balti, right? Just a person, you would think he's just an average community member, but he has something to offer. And he brought his talents, which was organization and a passion for brotherhood and community, and he's done amazing things for this community. And now you have another person who was just being herself in the community, and somebody said, hey, you know, can you bring your gift and do something? And now this thing that she has made, it has see, in a Muslim community, we can't say it's blown up, you know. Yeah, we can't say that anymore. I have to come up with another word, like it has really grown. There you go. It has really grown and just been a resource for the Adams Muslim community in Northern Virginia. So many people are contacting her and asking her to bring her group here and bring her group there, and they're sending buses for them, and they're getting VIP treatment and all of this. And it's giving a huge dawah. It's having beautiful dawah for the community. So for those people who aren't familiar with that term of dawah, it is just a beautiful way of giving the message of this way of life of Islam, right? That we are more than just prayer machines, right? Yes, we pray 5 times a day, and in Ramadan we're doing extra prayers. And for sometimes people looking at us from the outside, be like, man, those people just always praying. You know, if you see a Muslim in a workplace, every 5 minutes, like, oh, I have to make a prayer. It's like, dang, bruh, oh, it's time to pray. Didn't you just pray? Right? So we can come across as people who are just praying, but dhikr and remembrance of Allah comes in many forms, not just the 5 daily prayers. The way that you can remember Allah can be through joining this choir and singing songs about Allah, singing songs about the Messenger of Allah, singing songs about your country, singing songs about the beauty of the earth, right? That is a way of remembering Allah. We brought on Mujib a while ago who played the flute. If you listen to that episode, I want you to go back, that's a man who basically is using music as a way to remember Allah almost solely. That is like the reason that he does it is because he gets this spiritual thing from it, and he's studying the Quran, and he's learning classical Arabic. So it's not like either or. He's a student of Quran, he's studying classical Arabic, and he has this other thing that he does that gets him closer to Allah. So I just want you guys to think about that as some of the things that we do in Islam to expand the possibilities of how you can get close to Allah, to expand the possibilities of how you can get involved in your own community, right? So this next episode, I hope you enjoy the sister. She's a very cool sister. Her name is Sister Huri. We're coming at you on Think About It. What else do I want to tell you? I think that's it. So why not just get right to it? We're going to take a short break. This is all brought to you by pennyappealusa.org. I am your host, Joshua Salaam. You are watching Think About It. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Since August 25th of this year, over 600,000 individuals have fled from Myanmar into bordering Bangladesh. They've witnessed crimes against humanity. The United Nations calls what happened in Myanmar textbook definition of genocide, textbook definition of ethnic cleansing. We've been here for the last few months, providing them with access to clean drinking water, providing them with access to primary healthcare services, helping them build their shelters, as well as giving them weekly food distributions. We can't fathom what they've witnessed. The ones that have arrived into Bangladesh are the lucky ones. They're now residing in between the 22 to 25 official refugee camps that have now been established. With your continued support, we want to secure their future. We want to stay for the foreseeable future so that we can dig more water wells, so that we can provide them with more medication and more medical advice, so that we can help build more shelters, especially with the winter coming and the cold setting in. Please visit our website to find out more about our work and to support us with your generous donations. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. You'll get that if you saw the last episode. Once again, you have come back to Think About It with your host, Joshua Salaam, that's me, and this is brought to you by pennyappealusa.org. And today, we have brought on Sister, let me get this right, Hurunessa Fariad. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
I got it right, thank you very much. Now, I used to work with, but we call her Sister Huri. So for this show, can I call you Huri?
Yeah, go
That's
ahead,
okay?
no problem.
I've worked with you for a while, and you know, we worked at the Adams Center, and probably for about 10 years or so, something like that. And I didn't know, not until you moved upstairs, you know, to the high rise, you know, you came upstairs where we work, did I find out all this stuff about you. So you speak 5 languages, speak 5 languages. You have 4 beautiful girls or 3?
4.
4 girls. One's like my son, about to graduate, and you started this cool thing with it's called the Adams boom, 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 boom. You guys need like a commercial or something like that. You ever thought about that? Like
yeah, we probably do need
it. You need a commercial called the Adams beat. Is it more like the music beat or the heartbeat, or is it all together? How'd you get that name?
So one thing I wanted to do with the kids is to have them involved in everything that we do in the choir. So once they had come and auditioned and the group was formed, I told them, okay, we need to come up with a name. But I let them do the drive, you know, for it. And they came up with all these different names. We put up on the board.
Can you give us some of the names that they had?
Oh, God. They had like Kid Squad.
Kid Squad.
Like the Noor Squad.
Right.
Squad was very famous.
Squad was see, that was probably from this group called Deen Squad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Deen Squad. So we had Kid Squad.
Yeah.
Noor Squad.
Yeah. Then there was like Tempo and.
Oh,
you know.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Tempo's
there was beat
cool.
and tempo, and then we said, okay, let's cut it down. But they were doing the whole process. Like I was just facilitating for them to like vote on what they actually like. So it came down to beat because they voted on a lot, and then we brought it down to 3, and then from the 3 to 2, and then finally beat won. And then we said, okay, now beat needs to mean something. So we talked about the morals and values that are in Islam and how we're going to incorporate that in these 4 letters. So they finally voted on words for it to turn into an acronym.
All right, so what is it?
So B stands for Baraka,
Baraka, okay.
E for Iman,
okay.
A for Adab, and T for Taqwa.
Okay, Baraka, Iman, Adab, and Taqwa. That's cool. B.
Yeah.
So they owned it.
They
from
owned it.
Ground one.
Yeah.
Now, you said that the idea came from Imam Majid, or no? How did it start?
Yeah, it totally started with Imam Majid.
And we had him on the show too, so he was on the show, and he's supposed to come back. So if you guys don't know who Imam Majid is, either Google him or look at one of the earlier shows. Go ahead.
So one day Imam Majid called me up, and I was really nervous because at that time I was not, reporting to him. And, like, okay, Imam Majid wants to talk to you. I was like, what? Okay, let's go. And I went up. So he said, okay, Hudi, I hear you have a music background. And I was like, oh, how do you answer this question? Like, is it a trick question?
Is that a bad thing? Yeah.
Right? And then he said, well, all I know is that you're going to start this kids choir chorus at Adams. And my mouth dropped. Like, really? He said, yeah. And he said, whatever you need, I'm going to have it for you to start this. So I said, okay, it's going to take me a little time because I was going through my own personal stuff at that time. And then about 6 to 8 months later, we held our first auditions.
How did that go? How did you announce it? Because this is almost like, this is the second time during this show that I'm referring to a movie called Sing. You ever heard the movie Sing? So another guest came up here, I think it was Mujib or something like that. He played the flute. And he started telling me this thing. I was like, that reminds me of the movie Sing. So now you're telling me that you're going to have this audition for Muslim children, and I just imagine them getting the flyer, floating around. They see it in the message, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go to that, but maybe my parents don't want me to. How do I do it? So how did the tryouts go?
Tryouts were actually better than I expected. I didn't really think a lot of people were going to come because it's such a new idea and something that's not part of our daily life in the masjid, right? Much less, anywhere else in the Muslim world,
I don't think I've heard of too many Muslim choirs. Might be one from a long time ago in the African American community in the Midwest, maybe like 30 years ago, but I haven't heard of any.
Especially when connected to a masjid.
Right.
So I had about like 20 somewhat kids come and audition, and I just let them pick whatever song they wanted to sing, and I just wanted to make sure that they were able to carry a tune so that they would be in sync with one another. And they were nervous, I had boys and girls.
How did you cancel people? That's got to be rough. As a music director, you're sitting there and you're looking at some of these kids and go, next. And mashallah, mashallah. Don't call us, we'll call you. How did that process go?
Well, luckily, I didn't have too many kids that weren't, able to get in.
Okay.
But what I did was accept most of the kids that were coming because I had reached my limit.
What was the limit?
At that time, it was like 20, but I ended up with 22.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I'll take a few more. And I really wanted more boys to join as well. And that was always been something that I've been pushing for because this is something like girls gravitate more.
Why?
I don't know. A lot of the boys were saying like now, as I've been talking to them and, meeting with them, they do get teased by other kids in the masjid that like, oh, you're a part of a choir or chorus, you guys go and
Still,
sing.
they get teased?
Some of them.
The boys do?
The boys do, yeah. So, but they still come, I had one boy who left for a little while, and I saw him the other day, and he's like, I'm coming back. I said, yes, come back. It's,
I'm actually surprised that it turned out to be more girls than guys because the Adams Center is predominantly people who are either just came or second generation, but still kind of have an immigrant culture where women singing and singing in public is not that accepted or not that known, but boys either doing Quranic, even with Quranic recitation. So even with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you still see the boys being pressed out front, and the women, all they do is do the translation, right? So even with the Quran, they don't really they're not comfortable with hearing the female voice. So I'm surprised that you got overwhelming amount of women.
Yeah.
What do you,
I thought it was great. I thought it was great that these girls were confident enough to come and learn something new and be part of like this initial group of kids that are going to like, make segues and build, opportunities for other girls all around the country, Muslim girls who can see them as something that they would want to be, in a couple of years. So I try to instill that in them and make them feel that they're doing so much work. I call them my little Muslim ambassadors, just because the amount of work that they do and the venues that they do perform at, I think they make a big impact. And I especially want the girls to feel that they're impactful and that they are the ones, that can actually make a difference in the world. They don't realize it, but they can.
I think maybe another big reason is, like you said from the beginning, you had buy-in from the top imam at the masjid. So it was the idea of the executive imam of the masjid. And in your choir are children of the other imam at the masjid, right?
Yeah.
So you had buy-in from the entire imam's office.
Yeah.
One gave you the idea, the other one said, you know, put his girls in the choir.
Yeah, yeah.
So that had to help.
Yeah, I have one of his daughters in, and she's very active, you know, and she comes to almost all the performances, and she loves it. And I love that they feel really connected to
Right.
it.
So tell us some of the places that you've had access to, because I think what you told me before was happening is like, people are like, wait a minute, what? There's a Muslim choir? Because we used to get this as Native Deen, right? People find out about us as Native Deen and like, what? There's a Muslim hip hop group? And they just kind of look up like a little puppy, like, hmm? And then they go, what? So sometimes just being that awkward, I don't want to say awkward, but like that out of the box thing, people are interested in it. So when people are saying, what, there's a Muslim choir, all children? Has that given you, opened up doors for you guys to go places and do things?
I think there's a lot of different unique elements that, have placed Adams Beat in the position that it's in right now. One being that a little history going back is when we started, we were like, okay, they're just going to perform at some Adams event, Adams dinner, fundraising dinner, or the, when we do the awards for the law enforcement, they'll sing America the Beautiful, stuff like that. But then at those events, there were other people there that were like, either part of something where there's a music ensemble. So then we would get invited to something else.
Oh, here's my card.
Yeah, and a lot of them would say that your choir is really well rehearsed. They're in tune. They all sing in unison, and we've never seen that in a lot of the youth choirs. And there's a whole bunch of them, and a lot of them do get impressed that they're Muslim girls in hijab, standing there singing "America the Beautiful" or "This Land Is Your Land" and being proud of being American. And so, one thing led to another, and we were getting requests all the time in and around the DC area. So they've sang at the National Cathedral on Dr. Martin Luther King Day last year.
Now, for people who aren't from the DC area, the National Cathedral is kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's like where a lot of big events that the government might have or some politician may have, it's like the place to be with the high ceilings and the big organs.
Yeah,
it's intimidating too.
It is. Like when we first went there, the kids were like, wow, we're gonna sing here.
Right.
And we were given a song to practice, and then they sang that together with another adult Baptist choir. And
really?
It was beautiful, yeah. And then the cathedral had the instruments and their band playing. So, and in the audience there were people from all different, faith backgrounds.
Now, I'm kind of imagining that scene. You have all these Muslim children, and then there's this like a Baptist choir who probably can sing, right?
Yeah.
And they start singing, and I can imagine the Muslim youth like, okay, all right. We could do that. We could do that. Did that kind of inspire them a little bit?
Yeah,
seeing that?
They loved it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna sing with them.
Right,
They're so cool." So it really pumped them up, and they felt that they were part of something important because these adults were like singing in unison with them, and they were so powerful in their voices and just the unison that they saw there. They're like, we're one group too. So they were really, really excited to do that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, so you said that Imam Majid brought you upstairs because he said, I know you have a musical background. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
like, what's your musical background, and how did you, get targeted to be like the music director of the Adams Beat?
So I grew up in Queens, New York, and when it came time to apply in high school, I didn't want to go to my zone school because I was always in choir in elementary school and in middle school. We used to call it junior high school. That's what it's called back then.
Was that because of your parents, this musical history, or it started with you?
No, my dad would write poetry. He would sing all the time. So music was always in our home. That was something that we grew up, all my sisters, they sang, but none of them actually had formal training. So then I applied to Bayside High School, which is a performing arts high school. And it's #2 in all of New York City, LaGuardia being #1. And I got in. I had to go and audition. And then.
So that's like a Fame high school, like Fame.
Yeah, LaGuardia is Fame.
See, we're saying our generation now. If you don't know what Fame is, you got to go back about 25, 30 years, watch some TV. There was this a nice TV show that was built around this performing arts school in New York, I think,
yes, LaGuardia.
right? So, oh, that was LaGuardia?
Yeah.
So you went to the #2 school, number 2 performing arts school in New York.
Yeah.
Wow.
At Bayside. It was a little trek. You know, I had to take like 2-3 different buses to get there, but I really wanted to be in the program. So I went there, and normally in high school, if you take music or, you know, you're in an orchestra or band, it's an elective. It doesn't get graded into your GPA. Over there, your music classes do get, you know, averaged into your GPA. So it was serious stuff. So we were always learning to read music. So we learned theory. So with that education and that training, I was like a trained vocalist. So I was a second soprano.
Second soprano. What's a second soprano?
It's not as high as a first soprano, but you can hit a pretty high note.
Okay, so for those who don't know, we're gonna do some music education here.
Go ahead.
Soprano is the highest, the voice that can go the highest.
Right.
Right. And then how many levels of soprano is there?
We had 2.
There's 2.
Yeah.
Does it go 3, 4, 5? Or?
No,
No,
it's
just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then under sopranos, like
There's alto.
alto. Okay. So could you go down to alto sometimes?
I could do it alto 1, but not
Alto
an alto
1.
2. Yeah.
Okay.
That's too low.
That's too low.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had the basses and the tenors.
Right.
And they had 2 parts as well.
And baritones in there somewhere too?
No.
No. Oh. Okay.
And then you know, just being in that environment and being around my friends, and we would always just perform in school. We would have our Christmas show and then have our spring show. So, you know, that was just part of our daily routine and performing up on stage. But never did I think that I was going to have to conduct, because I'm not trained in conducting, much less kids. You know, adults, I'm like, okay, but maybe with adults I can work, but you know, children is a whole different level.
Yeah, how do you keep them on beat? How do you keep them on that Adams beat as you're, you know, doing? How do you do that?
I think with kids you have to be loving, but yet disciplined as well. And they know, like, I have cues for them while they're on stage. So, like, I'm not gonna start wording things out with my mouth. You know, I'll do this or I'll do this. You know, like they know what all that means.
What's that? What's that mean?
So this means your hands behind your back.
Oh, okay.
This means smile.
Okay.
This means get louder. You know.
Okay.
So
Turn it up. Turn them voices up. Boys and girls.
Yeah, so you know, it just becomes easier for them to know the signals than rather me trying to lip things out.
Right.
But they've learned that, you know, they know how to walk in. They know that when I tell them line up, they know it's tallest to shortest. Depending on how many kids are there, then I line them up, and then I'll tell which one's the line leader, who's the second line leader. And I tell them that from the time you walk out till the time you're done and you walk on stage and off stage, you're representing our community. You know, so everything has to be neat and clean and presentable. You know, even though you're kids, you are professional, and you have to exude that, because as Muslims, we're supposed to put our best foot forward and present things in the nicest manner possible. So, you know, even their dress code, you know, when I send out emails, it's like, please make sure your kids' clothes are ironed, take a shower, if your boys need to get a haircut.
That definitely would have been a problem for me. I was never ironing clothes for my boys. I sent them to school looking pretty, like they just came out the dryer. But so what's the age range? Do you don't go under a certain age, and you don't go over a certain age, or could I be a 21-year-old joining your choir? What's the limit?
So when I first talked about it with Imam Majid, we figured out, like, the best age group would be 7 to 14. For them to initially come in. I've never stopped. Like, I have a few girls and boys girls that are 15, but I would never tell them you have to leave because you've passed the age. 7 only because at that age I've noticed that they're able to stand a little bit longer during a performance. Their attention span is a little longer. So anything younger than that, they kind of like float off, or like, you know, they start touching the other kids and like, I want mommy. I
have to go to the bathroom in the cathedral.
Like Miss Hootie.
Right.
So 7 seemed to work really, really well.
You got to come up with a sign for no bathroom. None. Hold it. Hold it.
No, we learned to, like, go to the bathroom before performances, making sure they eat. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that it's not just taking them to a place and having them perform and leave. There's, like, you know, making sure I have enough chaperones with me, which parents are amazing. I have really, really supportive parents, which makes a big difference. And making sure they have their food and anything else that they need. But as time has gone by, I've noticed that a lot of the venues that they get invited, they're like VIP treatment.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, their food is there ready for them. They send them a bus.
Wow.
Everything's paid for.
Now, you started with 22. Where are you at now?
No, I have 43.
What happened to the 20 cutoff?
I don't know. It just like started growing and growing, and I don't think I ever was like.
And
oh.
you don't have an assistant music
No,
director. It's just you.
Yeah.
So why you?
Because there's really no one else that has a music background, and in my age group that can actually come and help out. I think with the new generation of kids going into music and learning, they'd be able to have more of these things in different communities, probably in like 10, 15 years. But you do need to have a music background to be able to do this.
Yeah, and I have a music background, but I don't have a music background from the top 2 school in New York. I've just been beating on drums and tables for about 40 years, you know. So
hey, it's all good.
So, all right, I want you to give a word to our audience. And as you're saying this, we're going to play some of the footage for Adam's Beat, you know, some pictures and things like that where they can get it. But what would you tell other people in the community that might have a gift that they can, because that's what it was. Somebody just identified you as having a gift and decided we can work something around that. So is there a message that you want to give to other sisters in the community or brothers that may think that they don't really have anything to offer and how they can get involved or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. If you have a talent, if you have a gift, please find ways to get it involved in your masjid community. Anyone who's an artist or a singer who has a music background or anything that you feel that might get kids engaged in the masjid might pull their interest and make a difference, because kids do need different avenues of subjects and ideas to get them to come into the masjid, and sometimes those kids are the ones that don't come into the masjid. But if you bring something new and exciting and fun that can actually get kids to come and do something that in turn will benefit not just them but the community as well, I think you probably don't realize the asset that you have and the difference you can make, because some of these kids didn't even want to come to the masjid. When they joined, they said, I'm only going to the masjid because I'm part of Adam's Beat, and in turn they made friends. They come and it's prayer time, they'll stop and go pray together. So don't think that, if you have, even the smallest thing that might be minute to you might be a big impact on even one child. I think you probably make a great difference in their life.
Even one child. That is one of our messages today. That's why we brought Sister Huri on. So thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying those pictures and the footage of Adam's Beat. You've been watching Think About It with Joshua Salaam. I'm your host. Want to thank pennyappealusa.org for bringing this to you. Don't go nowhere. We're coming right back with Sister Huri to play the game.
Oh.
Water is an important part of life, and the difference between clean and dirty water is the difference between life and death. We know that the issue is not that there's a lack of clean water, but a lack of access to it. So we're on a mission to change that. Through Thirst Relief, we're building wells across Africa and Asia to provide millions with access to clean, safe, consumable water. The goal is simple: to provide clean water to every person who needs it. To irrigate gardens like these, horticultural gardens in Gambia. To make sure that no person ever has to drink dirty water ever again. So join us. Visit pennyappealusa.org/thirstrelief and donate today. Thank you.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for coming back. I'm Joshua Salaam, the host of Think About It, the show where we talk about stuff in the Quran or Ramadan and just in the community. And that's why we have Sister Huri on here today. Hope you enjoyed her segment before. And there was a couple things before we start the game and before I explain the game. There's a couple things that she didn't get a chance to tell you about the Adam's Beat and the type of things that they do. So we wanted to give you a minute to just tell them some of the other things that you guys do, places that you've been, and the interesting things about Adam's Beat.
So they've been invited to a lot of unity walks in DC, the climate march that happened last year, The Washington Hebrew congregation invites them all the time in a lot of different events. They've were invited this past January to end the gun violence 5-year anniversary at the St. Mark's.
With all the school shootings that are going on and everything.
Right. Their 5th year anniversary, and we were the only choir there in the church. And I had one of my kids they wanted the call to prayer to happen then. So he recited that, and then they sang, this land is your land. And, people were crying and came up to them later. And the pastor actually came later on and told me, like, we're going to have you guys come again next year. So it's really nice to see our Muslim kids being invited to places that normally you wouldn't see them. If they hadn't been part of Adam's Beat, they would have never been in a church. They would have never been in a synagogue or a Hindu temple or different places of worship where
you
they're
guys
being
are going all over.
Yeah, they are, and they're learning to respect people, right, and to give them that amount of.
And people are learning to respect them as well.
Exactly, because they come up to them, and sometimes after performances, they'll tell me, "I counted 5 people crying in the audience,"
right.
Or like 3 people were clapping while we were singing "This Land Is Your Land," and they notice these things, and people will come up to them later on and tell them, "You did a great job. You really touched my heart," and these are the things that will make a difference in these children's life, because they will feel that they're validated, and that them being an American Muslim is something that should be valid in themselves, and they could carry that forward in other things as well. Another thing that we do is in the beginning of the year, to re-registration, and our beginning of the year is always September for some reason. I guess just used to being in the school year, right? So each child pays $100 registration fee for the whole year, but that money goes into their bank account in Adams, and we use that money to do fun activities. Like we'll go to Zava Zone, we've been to Hershey Park, we go to dinners together, we go to the movies. So I have a motto like, work hard and play hard, because it's important to give that opportunity to kids to be themselves as well. That you worked hard, you earned this, so let's go and do something fun. And they vote on where they want to go. A lot of times now, you got a little Model UN going on here. We do get honorariums when they go perform somewhere. So they know their budget, they know how much is in their bank account, and they decide what they want to do with it. I tell them like, okay, we have whatever $5,000 in the account. What do you want to do this year? So right after Ramadan, they want to go to
more than I got in my account. Mashallah, I need to join Adam's Beat. $5,000.
Yeah.
This land is your land. This land is mine. Come on.
Hey, we might have you come do a solo with them, right? So they get to use that money and spend it on themselves, and it makes them feel that like they own it. It's their money, and they decide what they want to do with it. And I think that's important. It's life lessons that they could learn and use, so when they're older, they'll remember that.
MashaAllah. And for all those Adams Beat kids out there, we're about to give you another life lesson on how to beat the music director when you're playing the game. Think About It. So I'm glad that you've never seen any of the episodes of Think About It, because mashallah during Ramadan you are immersed in the ibadah and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is another way to remember Allah, which is why we bring on special guests to kind of tell you how you can be involved and how you can be an active member of your community. And I hope that you guys are learning that. So let me explain this game to you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
I know you speak Spanish, so I could do it in Spanish.
No. English is fine.
English is fine, good, because I don't speak Spanish. All right, I have 5 words here.
Okay.
I have to get you to say this word by giving you a 1-word clue. Okay. I can't translate it, right? So if the word was day, I can't say yaum or something like that, right?
Okay.
But I give you a 1-word clue. So if the word was like carpet, I might say floor or something like that, or rug, or something like that, right? And then if I get you to say it, I get a point. If you get me to say it, you get a point. And the first one to get all 5 wins.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. I go first.
Okay.
Yes. Increase my chances of winning. All right. Here we go. Process. What's funny?
Computer?
Okay, that's a good guess, but that means that is not the right answer. So it is now your turn to try to get me to guess your word.
Oh, okay.
And since I didn't get it, when it's my turn, I have to do that same word, give you another clue.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you get this right, you get a point?
No, if I get this right, you get a point.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Plant.
Tree. Okay. Process. System. You don't have to be nervous.
Like what?
You don't have to. You are so nervous. Just,
No, because like
just-
process, system,
Yeah, what's coming to your mind?
organization.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's your turn.
Okay.
First clue was
Plant.
plant. Okay.
Soil.
Soil. Plant. Soil. Flower. Am I getting close?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Process. System. Organization. I know you said it, but I know it was something you said, but I think it is also a good clue.
Okay.
So process, system, organization.
I'm trying to think.
They gave me a hard word to start out with. It's okay. After this, my words get easier.
Yeah. It's like so technical. Process, organization. What was the other clue?
System.
Management.
Okay. All right.
We're not doing so well, just so you know.
We're
I don't
doing
feel that
fine.
bad because you're not getting them right either.
Yeah, this is my show. I've been playing it every day.
Okay.
Your turn.
So I said,
Plant, soil,
okay, brown.
dirt. Okay, you're winning. All right. Process, system, organization. Bylaws.
Oh. There's so many words.
I know.
I was going to say smart cheese.
You were going to say, but you didn't. You didn't say it, so you still get another guess.
And you know why I said
I know,
that.
they don't know, but I'm a Smart Sheets fan. Look it up, smartsheets.com. We've been working on Smart Sheets for a while. So.
Okay.
No, it's not Smart Sheets.
Okay, you said bylaws?
I said bylaws, yeah.
Board of directors? I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Your turn. You're on your second word, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Door.
Knob. Okay. All right, Joshua, come on. Process. Okay, how about, I'll be kind of cheating, but anyway, process was a clue, and
Process and I'm blanking out. There's so many words. Bylaws.
well, bylaws was a clue.
Smart sheets.
But if I just said process, and my next clue is and.
No idea. I think you just skipped the next one.
I can't. I either lose on the first word or I get it.
Process.
Anything you heard with process before? And process and.
What's the first letter?
Just say something. I think I got, my next clue will have you get it, inshallah. I got it.
Process and delivery. I don't know.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay.
Not doing a good job.
I know, I'm not doing a
I'm
good
not blaming
job.
myself for not knowing.
It is not your fault. It is not your fault.
Okay.
What was my first clue?
Door.
Door.
Walkway.
Foyer. Okay. Protocol. Process. Systems. Organization. You can forget the and. That was just to go with process. Process, protocol, systems, organization.
The last one you said was protocol?
Protocol, yeah.
Okay.
Please, please. Nope. You're going blank.
I'm going. My mind is like. I'm more worried about Mike.
That's how you win the game. That's how you win the game. Okay, so protocol, process, systems, organization. What would you think would go in that?
Protocol, procedures.
Boom! Boom!
Look at that.
Yeah. I am out of the first word. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right.
Finally.
Yes. Your turn.
Okay.
Door, entrance. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was the word. Entrance. I didn't say entrance. I said walkway.
You said walkway. Okay.
Hey, you got it.
Mashallah.
Thank you. I didn't even have to give
That's
you a
how good
clue.
she is. She's like,
It's telepathic.
entrance. Okay, so you're on your fourth word?
Third.
That wasn't your third? That was your second word?
That was the second word.
Okay, all right, I'm on my second word. Heel.
Heel? Like healing someone, or shoe heel? Or hill?
Hill. Hill.
Hillside?
My Ebonics accent is coming. Hill. Yes. My clue is hill.
Mountain?
Yes. See? That's what it is. You just got to say it right. My next clue. Ladies and gentlemen, hill. All right. Tie
Okay.
game.
Shooting star.
It's 2 words, but that's okay. You sisters are just very special.
Well, it's one thing. Though.
It's shooting star. I would say comet. Oh, come on. That's like the best guess for shooting star. All right. Triangle.
Circle.
Nope. Yep. Your turn.
Space.
Shooting star. Space. Galaxy. I said triangle. Rectangle.
Square.
Yes. And I just took the lead. Cha-ching. Thank you very much. Your turn. Shooting star. Space.
Crash.
Astronaut? Why is that funny? That seems so horrible. Well, when I find out the word, I guess I will know.
That was funny. Okay.
Sorry for all the astronauts out there. Next clue. Next word is sneaker.
Running.
Your turn.
Did I say rock already?
No, you said shooting star, space, crash.
Okay. Rock.
But I said comet. So
Keep thinking.
what's the other thing that comes? Asteroid.
No.
Ah.
I'm trying to use words that can actually imply something.
Okay. Oh man. All right, we've run out of time. What was the word?
Meteor.
Meteor. Meteor. That I should have got that. I should have got that.
You should have gotten that.
But I was getting close.
You were.
Asteroid.
I mean, look at mine. The first one.
Yeah. I was trying to get you to say shoe.
Shoe.
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Sneaker. My next
makes
thing was going to be high heel, but that's 2 words. Anyway. Well, thank you for coming and playing. You were a special guest. And you can see why all the children love working with Sister Huri. She's just a ball of energy and very happy and brings positive energy wherever she goes. So learn more about them at, what's the Facebook page?
It's Adam's Beat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Facebook /Adams Beat, right?
I don't know if there's a slash, but it's Adams Beat.
Okay,
It's
so
just two words.
type in Adams, B-E-A-T, for Baraka, Iman, Adab, and Taqwa, and you're going to find them and learn all about them. Thank you for watching Think About It with Joshua Salaam, and we want to thank pennyappealusa.org for bringing it all to you. We'll see you tomorrow.
This Deen TV video was made possible in part by Penny Appeal USA, Small Change, Big Difference, and by Recycle Processes Incorporated.